Hello and welcome. What's scarier than being yourself? And remember to hit bongs, not bitches. I am your host, Michael, and in today's video, I wanted to do a taste test, kind of. Taste test tutorial, cautionary tale, I don't know. If the title wasn't enough to if the title, thumbnail, and everything else wasn't enough to cue you in on what's about to happen, I'm going to try two different methods for making, I really don't want to offend anybody, because I know that, and I also hate calling it this, but the alternative community, I personally hate calling it that, but, like, it's kind of what it is, man. I know that some of you guys, as a person who has lived in this community almost his entire life, some of y'all can get really fucking touchy about shit that gets said. But I think this is decently enough well known that I shouldn't get shot. So, I'm banking on that being the case. This is a concoction that I cannot lie, I've made myself not plenty of times, but enough times to be semi-experienced in the past. This is a concoction, a stew, if you will, because you cannot call this a drink. I'm sorry, this is not something you drink. This is a soup, if anything. This is a soup. A cold soup. Called battery acid. Which I think either originated on Tumblr. I can't think of the date right now. I'll put it on screen. It either originated on Tumblr, or it just kind of started by word of mouth of the, in, I think, either the emo scene or scenemo group in those, I don't want to say cultures, in those groups of the alternative community, where you take an energy drink, most commonly Monster, and you put various sour gummies in it. Most typically, you can make a bunch of different battery acid things. This is a very not hard or expensive thing to do. Partially that's why I do it. Also, it's just fun. I don't know, it's fun, but I've never done it the way it's supposed to be done. I've always done some sort of variation on it because it's very flexible. The baseline definition is energy drink or some sort of soft drink. Typically an energy drink. Works best with an energy drink. Because why not? And gummies. More often than not, sour. However, I will say this. I want to do more experiments in the future with battery acid, and, like, what is, in my opinion, the best form of battery acid. I've already discovered that I personally think that the best way to eat battery acid is as if it were a soup, but with a fork, because, I don't know, you can eat it. It really depends on what the gummies are. For this experiment, I'm using a fork, because today we're making specifically battery acid spaghetti, which, it's a little unclear as to whether or not it is the the strips that you can tear apart, or if it is just actual gummy spaghetti, because you can buy both. You can get both. Both exist. Both have existed. But in the original post on Tumblr, the recipe on Tumblr that I am thinking of, and that didn't inspire me, but like somebody else did it, and that's what's inspiring me to make this video. Because I personally, 1, I don't think they did it correctly. 2, I don't think they're very honest. 3, that is probably because I am a fucking crack job that actually enjoys this sort of shit. So, anyways, but I myself have never done it this way. I've only ever done it with just like gummies. Typically, the first ever time I made battery acid, I did it wrong. I did it severely wrong. And I had only ever heard about it by word of mouth and by very generic videos of people showing the process of making it, but not disclosing anything or talking about it afterwards. It looks all pristine and pretty in the bottle. It's not the reality of the situation. Oh boy, was I in for a storm. First thing I did wrong, I bought, like, half and half, these, like, weird cream added gummies, these gummies that had cream in them, which, if you've ever done this, which most people I know haven't, you already know where this is going, and so it was just oddly the weird mixture of creamy gummies and Monster Energy. And then, if you don't know, and I was trying to drink it, because this was before I found out that, nope, that, you probably shouldn't try to drink this. This is not something you drink. I just figured, I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think the gummies would, I don't know, soak up and become more gelatinous, which is the thing that they do. That is a cautionary warning. Cautionary isn't the word, but this is a warning. If you don't eat it quick enough, it will become this very weird gelatinous mess. It's not pleasant to put in your mouth. It's not pleasant at all. This is why I say eat it in one sitting, eat it like a meal, and eat it like your life depends on it, because if you wait longer than, I don't know, 5 minutes, and even then that's probably too long to finish your thing, and I would argue, probably do it in increments, do it in batches, as in, don't pour an entire thing of Monster Energy into a dish, or into a cup or a glass, or however you're making it, and then add gummies. Do like a separate them out thing, and then have like a dish that you pour a little bit into, add a little bit into, you eat it, you finish it, and then you repeat the process until you're done with your Monster, or you're out of your gummies, and then you just need to drink your Monster like a normal person. However you feel works. But I don't know which way works best because I haven't tried these methods, but I think to start, I'm all over the place. I don't know if it's obvious. I haven't scripted this. That is very obvious. You never script. There's just a lot of warnings to give for people with sensory issues or who don't have strong stomachs when it comes to looking at food that doesn't look like food and associating it with putting it in your body. Yeah, it gets, the texture gets fucked very quickly. If you're using sour candy, which typically has this sour coating, or just, and this is what I want to test, because I don't know if it's just sour candy, or if it's just gummy candy specifically, or if it's just candy in general. This is something that I want to test later down the line, but right now we're just doing the bare basics to get started. But a trait of battery acid is that it creates this weird, almost film at the top of citric acid, like this weird citric acid and semi-gelatin film. It doesn't do much except look gross and make you feel gross, but it doesn't interfere much, in my opinion, from what I can remember, with the texture. Unless you're taking like big gulps of it, in which case, yeah, it's gonna be a little gritty. That's another thing. It's gummy candy. It's kind of gritty. It's just built that way. Whoops. Sorry. And I will say this, the tastes definitely mix, they definitely merge. Sometimes it's not the best, sometimes it's better or worse. Who knows? We're gonna find out though. I have paper towel prepared to either clean or do whatever for whatever happens. 'Cause you never know. But to start us off, I'm gonna go with what I initially thought when I heard gummy spaghetti, which was Haribo's sour spaghetti. This fucking thing. Which includes strawberry, blueberry, green apple, and watermelon flavors. And I've already opened the package. I've already taste tested all of it. They all taste kind of not like they're supposed to. I was very confused on to what the flavors were. But they're fine. Yeah, I would hardly call them spaghetti, cause correct me if I'm wrong, that, and this is roughly the size of all of them, that is a sad spaghetti. That is, I just snapped my spaghetti to fit it in my pot. This is treason. In the dish it goes. So I'm just gonna grab an okay amount. Enough to grab with a fork. And, so, it's very simple. You put gummy in dish, you get your Monster, and you pour your Monster in the dish. I will say this, it does fizz extraordinarily aggressively. Probably some, like, chemical thing. I don't know what the word is. Not chemical reaction, but chemical reaction. I can't think of what it would be specifically. But, alright. For first appearances, it's fizzing aggressively. And there, I don't know if you can see that. We might need to get really close for that to show up, but It looks like piss. No, that film, that's not just bubbles, that is the citric. That is the citric, like, acid and the other coating. It's just like the coating that they put on the gummies rising to the top and coming off of the gummies. You know, so if seeing that makes you unable to drink your drink, probably don't make this. Gonna take a sip because I feel like I put too much in here. Yep. The film doesn't. It probably changes over time. I don't want to wait for that time to come. But the film doesn't seem to be interfering with the texture at all. For me, at least. It just tastes like a more like I wouldn't call Monster sour, but it just tastes like you put sugar and citric acid in your Monster so far. Oh, am I blind? Did that do a thing? Or am I stupid? I think that did change color a bit. I think it deepened into like a reddish color. Not super noticeable, but okay, don't try to be fancy. Yum. This is a life. Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess I forgot that it did that. So that weird gelatinous textured that shows up that I talked about happening previously, it's just immediately there from the get-go, but it isn't as bad as it's going to get. It'll just keep on getting worse and worse. But yeah, it's weird. It kind of, these are very tough for gummies, and that is to be expected of Haribo, because Haribo are naturally just very tough. I say naturally. They're gummies. They're just generally very, very tough for a gummy, in my opinion, and this is coming from the dude that almost strictly buys Haribo, because I like chewy gummies. They're gummy. For a reason. But like, yeah, this is a fucking jaw workout. I don't know. The texture isn't great. Between being weirdly gelatinous, that weird, like, outside coating, and the toughness of the gummy, and just generally not tasting that great, I feel like we could do better with this. I wouldn't recommend this, especially if you have, like, sensory issues with food. Oh, that's not a sight for sore eyes. Yeah, it really just fucking trigger warning. What? That. God. There is no God. I mean, to be fair, if you're doing it to experience it... Oh, it's gotten worse. It is an experience. Mayhaps not a pleasant one, but certainly an experience. Would I recommend it? No, probably not. I want to see how long it takes. Not strictly, but just like if by the time we're done with the second one, if this has gone far worse. So you're just gonna be over here. And now the second one is going to be the tearing the strips method with Airheads Sour Extreme, fucking rainbow berry strips, otherwise known as gay bacon. Where did you get such long bacon? Long bacon store. Now, personally, I think the Extremes title is a bit of a joke. Mostly just because even on their own scale, it is not... It's not that far on the this is sour scale for what I would expect to be extreme. Now, this could just be my batch. This could just be a thing with this brand specifically, but I'm not typically a gay bacon eater. But what a phrase. What a phrase. It's sticky. Two things. It's sticky. Weirdly so. For, like, you might say, like, oh, well, it's a gummy, of course it's gonna be sticky, but, like, no, this feels damp. This, it has not been submerged in anything that I'm aware of. I bought these today from the store. Why are they that sticky? Are they just that sticky? Because that could just be it. But these are not pleasant to hold, let alone handle for long periods of time. They taste good. I will say that. They taste a lot better than that. Than the other thing. Than the, sour spaghetti. They do taste artificial, which is to be expected, but by artificial, I mean they have this weird cardboard taste, but like taste flavorful cardboard. Like if you dipped a very thin wafer of cardboard into flavoring sauce and put it in your mouth. So it still has a very forward flavor of, I don't think forward is the word, but it still has the very prominent flavor of fake berry, because it's berry flavored, but it has that weird undertone of cardboard for some reason. But then two, with these, you can choose whether you want your battery acid spaghetti to be, as I'm going to refer to it, either, like lasagna sheets, this wide and long and thin sheet of lasagna pasta, quote unquote, because this is not pasta, or you can do linguine, it also tears very easily, and by very easily, I mean it is a little hard to get them in these nice long strips like that. Or linguine, which is long, thin, but kind of wide. So it's a very thin, long rectangle. Or something very, I don't know if this is special to this, but this has it. Or you can have, come on, angel hair pasta, which is not spaghetti, because spaghetti and angel hair are different. And the trying to get the angel hair, which is what I think I'm gonna go for, is incredibly difficult. As you can tell, it is like spaghetti, but even thinner. And so, that's about it. It's just a very, very thin spaghetti. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but as I can perceive it, as a non-certified pasta extraordinaire, it's just thin spaghetti. I'm gonna rip this failed piece of angel hair off, and then get all of the angel hair into the separate dish, and I'll be back for that. So, I'll see you when I see you. Interjection. I'm not done, nowhere near, with the separating process, but, I will say this, these are far softer gummy than the Haribo spaghetti was, so I'm curious as to how that will affect things. I'm gonna continue separating these bastards. I'll be back. I always come back. Okay, so I'm back, finally. One, I gave up on the angel hair idea. That was a little too ambitious. They kept tearing apart long before I wanted them to. And not in the way that I wanted them to, because they're so soft and delicate. So I just went with the basic linguine. I went for linguine of each of the rainbow segments. We're missing purple, and it's out of order, but that doesn't matter. Because it's all the same flavor. My hands were so sticky, and most of the sour coating, the citric acid, came off in that process. So I had to wash my hands. So that was not great. That took so long for 2 strips. Bon appetit. Oh. Aggressive. Oh, look at that. Don't look at that. No. Okay. Immediately off the bat, this might just be a thing. There's definitely much more of a, foam and skin, very skin-like skin at the top. Please dissipate. yeah, that is a look. Delightful. Gonna try twirling this bitch. I kinda could get a twirl. Well, I can say this, and oddly enough, because the gummies were already soft to begin with, that weird, like, soft thing that, like, the gelatinizing, probably not the word for it at all, but the gelatinizing of the surface of the gummy doesn't happen as noticeably immediately. This is a much more aggressive skin, I would say. It's much more apparent. It's much more, I think because the sour coating is a little finer on these than it was for the sour spaghetti, it diluted quicker and in a bit of a shorter time span, and so it created a much more even and much more apparent film on top. Ooh. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna have to say that I think this version is superior. Don't look at either. Don't look at them. But I think this version, both the gummy and the drink itself taste better in this version. And feel better because the gummy already felt fucking weird. But, and this is a major but, because with with these, you could just grab a handful and toss them in. But with these, to get the desired effect, the desired, like, spaghetti, it was a lot harder. It was a lot of work for just 2 strands, and this is a very small batch, and theoretically, you wouldn't want that much. And sure, I guess you could do it with a knife, but for something that is supposed to be super easy, kind of, not exactly, but you're not really supposed to put a lot of work into it. You're just trying to have a fun time and do whatever, cause lol randoms. But let's have another bite and see if the texture is noticeably different. Yeah. Yep. This is really something you either have to have a taste for, texture-wise. Again, taste is fine. Taste is a lot better than this. One, that texture, man. The texture. The texture. This is certainly a meal, I guess. Feed this to your autistic friend to torture them. Is what I would say. Or maybe they're into that sort of thing. Not torture, I mean like this, because I could see this being a good sensory experience, but generally speaking, not a good sensory experience for any of your sensories. Minus your nose, unless you don't like the scent of Monster or gummies or citric acid, then this will be a hell. But it just smells like diluted Monster. The taste is fine. That's about all I can say. Is you don't need to experience this if it's not something you're dying to experience. You can certainly live a life. I still need to test that one out. You don't need to do this. This is not a necessity. But if you want to, you can. It is very simple. I will be testing out other variations of battery acid, other interpretations, and other battery acid recipes. Later on in this series, just to see what works best. But I would say we've had a pretty good first episode, I guess. Wild. Battery acid, folks. Now to try this. Mm. Oh, that's terrible. So those were apple flavored, and I'm saying this because it really helped me figure out what that texture is. It develops like a weird, almost grainy, but not quite applesauce texture on the outside. And then you've still got, depending on how drenched, soaked, sopped up your gummy is, a gummy skeleton of sorts. Generally not pleasant at all. The film on this one, still roughly the same as it was when I had left it originally. But that is not a nice texture. I'm trying not to gag. Sorry. That's a thing that exists. The taste is fine. Again, the texture was different. The texture was different with this one. Now, theoretically speaking, that could be because of the size of this batch, but that could also just be a thing of this specific kind of gummy we are using, but I could not only feel noticeably the citric acid just in its form, but also like not rub offs, but like separated decomposed parts of the weird applesauce thing that's going on in the liquid now. That's not great. Like at all. If you're okay with applesauce textured things with a little extra chew to them in the center, minus any of the health benefits, which health is not what you're looking for if you're making fucking battery acid, so I don't know why I said that. You might like this. I'm purely drinking it out of obligation that I've put myself under to not waste any of this. Because waste is bad, kids. You shouldn't waste. Oh wow, that tastes a lot different. That was it for this episode, I guess. I would say that was a decent first episode. I hope to make more of these in the future. I'm sorry, I keep pausing. I pause a lot because my brain doesn't work. I'm so sorry. But, you know, this was a video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you must. And I hope you have a nice day. I want you to know. I hope to whoever watches any of my videos, to you guys, to viewers like you, that I bring you joy, happiness for any quantity of time. Thank you. A lot, I guess. Signing off.